Okay, so for this problem, it's very similar to what we discussed on the last one. This first point here, negative 10, negative 1, we would call that x1 and y1, and that is because every single point that you have ever used has exactly one x and one y. So if this first point, this would then be the first x and the first y. And in the second point, because we already have one x, this would be the second x and the second y. So once again, you're looking at what the change is between x and y. And we look at the change in y, or the rise, first, and the change in x, or the run, second. So we're just going to take those two numbers there. So the equation that we used in the last video was y2 minus y1 is divided by x2 minus x1. So you're going to take those 2 points and plug them in. The second y was negative 4, and the first y was 1. So we're subtracting 1 from negative 4, and then dividing that by the change in the x's. The first x, or the second x, excuse me, was 0. And the first x from the x2 minus x1 was negative 10. So I do want you to notice really quickly here, in the equation, it's always minus y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So even if the number you're subtracting is a negative, you're going to have to do what I did here, and it's still going to be minus a negative 10, but then whenever you have a negative and a subtraction symbol sitting next to each other, they become a positive symbol. So then what we end up with is negative 4 minus 1, and if you're sitting on negative 4 at the number line and you subtract 1, you're going 1 to the left, which then becomes negative 5. 0 minus negative 10, or taking away the debt, canceling that debt, those two negatives become a positive. So that becomes negative 5 over positive 10. And 5 can go into 10 twice. So that reduces to negative 1/2, or your final answer here is C.